Good evening, everybody, and welcome to your May edition of the SWE PNW Digital Digest. I'm Teresa Crack, your FY19 President-elect, and I will be your host on this fine evening. We have a special edition this time. We are going to be going through our normal minute or so with SWE PNW and our SWE business and behind the scenes, but we are going to be focusing this month on our year in review and creating some highlights from our annual banquet this past Sunday. So we hope that you'll stick through the end and get to see some really cool recaps of the years, as well as an additional announcement of our section awards recipients. And of course, at the end, we'll open it up for Ask Me Anything. We do ask that you post questions to the Facebook event. We posted that out on our Facebook page and in the discussion group on the event. So we'll keep an eye on that when we get there. Without further ado, we're going to go through a minute or so with SWE PNW. So up first, we do want to remind everybody that we do have lots of ways that we can communicate with section members. This has been one of our biggest push this past year to make sure that we have those member engagement platforms. We've got a website, we've got a blog, Rainy Day Reads. We do try to publish a newsletter periodically for specific things like our upcoming election, or if there's any other material that needs to go out in that format. That's our Notes from the Northwest. We do our monthly highlights email, which is our SWE PNW happenings. And you can subscribe to that on our website. And we are all over social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you may be wondering, how can you connect with SWE PNW for events? We've got our Google Calendar, which you can actually sync to your own Google Calendar. And we've got the sync instructions up on our webpage. We're very active on our Facebook page, and you can find our events through that Facebook page as well. If you like and interact, please share those. That's going to help spread the word about our events. And when you're at the event, share pictures and tag SWE PNW on Facebook and on Instagram or even on Twitter, and we'll help share those pictures to our members as well. Don't forget to sign up for our email list, because that's how you're going to get all of our section communications and event notices. And as a special extra bonus, all of our events are done through Eventbrite. You can search SWE PNW, find our event organizers on there, and if you follow those event organizers, when they publish an event that goes live, you will actually get an email from Eventbrite, and that will be the first communication you get from a live event. So we really encourage you to go through and utilize that feature of Eventbrite so that you get the latest and greatest on our events right up front. So with that, we want to make sure that we thank everybody out there for a fantastic year with SWE PNW. So thank you so much. And we want to thank you if you were some of our outreach volunteers, if you attended a professional development or social and networking event, if you read or viewed any of our section communications, a double shout out and thank you if you sat down and watched any part of our digital digest. And if you've attended a signature event, or if you've done anything else behind the scenes with SWE PNW, thank you all for making it our year possible, because without our members engaging with what we offer from a section operations and event planning side, we wouldn't have been able to have the fantastic year that we did. So thank you again. Coming up from a section business that we want to make sure everybody's aware of is we will be having section bylaws voting. We're currently working on finalizing our bylaws with the bylaws committee. They got a little bit backlogged, and we're working on getting the completed draft finalized with the bylaws committee so we can put a voting call out to the section. That voting will be done electronically, not in person. It'll open officially for 30 days. And the key here is that we do need to meet quorum with our voting. It's per the bylaws. And we would really like you to make sure that you vote and encourage your fellow SWEsters to vote. Because if we don't meet quorum, we'll have to go through this process again and keep basically doing it until we get that quorum. So please, please, please vote when you see that go out. And then after the vote, the bylaws committee finishes their approval and updates the records, and then we'll have a new version of our bylaws. So we really want you to keep an eye out for that. Also, since we're kind of wrapping up the year here, we do want to look ahead to FY20. In FY20, we're going to be continuing the journey. This past year's theme was taking the first step. We reviewed this a little bit at the annual banquet, and we really want to build on the success we had in FY19. We're going to target some of the gaps we found this year as we tried to build into that sort of strategic planning. And we really want to work on transitioning from our current planning model to looking a little bit more long-term in terms of annual and strategic planning. And then we want to work towards that ideal annual calendar. With that comes some short and long-term goals. Again, we're looking that long term to plan and execute to an annual plan. Ideally, we'd like to get to a 3 to 5 year strategic plan that would help with officer transitions and year-to-year planning. In the short term, continuing our success on looking at short term is continue to develop and flow down section level goals, focus on our focus areas that we have. Look at doing a summer strategic planning workshop that's going to be tentatively earmarked for August. And then we're going to status the goals at the EC meeting and throughout the year. So following our model that we launched this year with sort of it being the first year without regions, FY19 was taking that first step, kind of starting from the crawl. FY20, we're going to the walk, and then we're targeting that FY21 kind of a 3-year vision here to get up and running at that point. So really hoping everybody's going to help us get there. And if any of this sounds interesting to you from a behind the scenes perspective, please reach out to us. We'd love to have your participation in this. Also, as a special bonus, next year we are going to be celebrating 65 years as a section. This is a great slide that was up at We Local Bellevue, and we are one of the sections celebrating 65 years as a section within the Society of Women Engineers. So we want to celebrate that. If you're interested in helping come up with any ideas or helping chair an event like our annual banquet, please go ahead and send an email to swe.pnw.pres.elect@gmail.com. We're happy to take ideas or help that we can, because we really want to make it an awesome year next year to celebrate that 65 years as a section. So with that, kind of take a quick look ahead. I know we're heading into the end of the year, but there's still some great events that we want to let you know about. On the 14th of May, there's going to be a PSEC student mentoring night at Seattle University. You can find that through our Google Calendars on the webpage. There's a sign up specifically for that through PSEC, so we do encourage you to go check that out and sign up there. We're going to be having a SWE PNW EC meeting online, currently targeted to the May 28th. We may be looking at shuffling that date around as people look at their availability, so keep an eye on any updates for that through our Eventbrite and our Facebook pages. Now looking ahead a little bit to June. In June, we're going to be having our next digital digest on the 6th, but just ahead of that from the HQ level, there's going to be the SWE Outreach Committee meeting on the 4th. So keep an eye out for that information. Again, you can find that up on our Google Calendars in terms of how to RSVP for that HQ meeting, but that is run by the HQ, and those are online. And if we have anything else coming down the pipeline, we'll be making sure that it ends up on our Google Calendars and our Facebook and Eventbrite pages. Again, kind of looking ahead, we're in that transition point in terms of wrapping up one year and looking ahead to the next year. There's always a call for help in our leadership and section operations opportunities. You can step up and say, okay, I'm interested in helping next year on a committee level. We've got several focus areas there, from professional development to outreach to social and networking and beyond. We also have people that would like to take on a chair and lead position. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us. There's some specific things that we're looking for, but we're also going to be looking into what that opportunities might look like in FY20. And then we always need help behind the scenes with our section operations. We're looking at forming signature event planning teams by signature event. We could use all the help we could get, especially with the 65th anniversary there. So if you're interested in any of the behind the scenes, go ahead and send our secretary, swe.pnw.secretary@gmail.com, an email, and she'll get you connected to the right person. And as always, if you've got a question for one of our specific focus areas or things that we do as a section, we do have a support from SWE PNW slide here that covers sort of all of the emails that we've got and kind of the topics that you can reach out to them. If you're not sure who to contact, again, send our secretary an email at swe.pnw.secretary@gmail.com. And that wraps up our very quick minute or so with SWE PNW for this month. So transitioning into our main section is our year in review, and we're going to hit some highlights that came out of our annual banquet. So we want to start off with a little bit of the behind the scenes in the section operations. One of the big things this year is that SWE launched a new strategic goal, that fourth one down there at the bottom, diversity and inclusion. So that created 4 goals: professional excellence, globalization, advocacy, and diversity and inclusion. You may be familiar with the first 3, but that new one was a separation of, yes, diversity and inclusion was embedded in the first 3 goals, but pulling it out separately provides a different level of focus. and that was introduced as SWE will champion diversity in the engineering and technology professions and will promote an inclusive environment. One of the ways that we embrace that as a section is that we focused on bringing D&I moments or diversity and inclusion moments down to our events. This is something that the board of directors does. It also flows through the leadership coaching committee, and we've brought that down. So specifically at our executive council meetings, we've tried to launch each EC meeting with a D&I moment. And you can see some of the topics and themes that we did there. A very good participation on that. So thank you for those that attended those meetings that participated. We also started deploying those in terms of our other events. At our kickoff at the beginning of the year, we touched on inclusive language as a D&I moment. We did also do a professional development event where we included a D&I moment on inclusive networking. When Elaine and I presented at We Local Bellevue on some of our SWE section operations, we actually started that with an inclusive language D&I moment. Also, as a section, we've tried to embrace it consistently from a branding and identification perspective by updating our badges. If you see the leaders and officers at the events, you'll see the official SWE badge with the name, Pacific Northwest, and also the pronouns at the bottom. So we're really happy to have deployed these parts of our mission to embrace that D&I goal from the society level. We also have a bunch of focus areas that we've kind of solidified this past year. You're familiar with a couple of them, and we've been working on pieces of these as we go. We've got professional development, outreach, K through 12 and volunteering, social and networking, member engagement, corporate relations, and section operations. And one of the big things for us is bringing in that corporate relations and that member engagement flavor a little bit differently this past year to try to ensure we're bringing the biggest benefit to our members. And one of the ways that we focused on member engagement and providing benefit to being a SWE member is we did update our event ticket type and pricing updates. We broke it up in terms of SWE member, professional, college, retired, and unemployed, and then we had non-SWE members. And there's a breakdown in terms of how those tickets were priced. But by having those different ticket types, it also helped us track our metrics, which then helps us with year-end reporting. So overall, we've been trying to do a little bit more front end on that. So it helps us not only provide the benefit for members in terms of that discounted ticket price, but also helps with our metrics and our end of year reporting to show the reach that we had as a section. And one of the ways that we're reinforcing that membership as a benefit is to get those discounted tickets, that's where you would need your SWE membership number. Just like you're registering for a conference or just like you're doing that in order to get that discounted price, that's where that SWE membership number comes in. And that allows our members to take advantage of the discounted pricing, as well as helping verify membership, especially for those limited seating events. With that, one of the really other awesome things that we had this year is at We 18, we were presented with the SWE Mission Award Silver Level for our professional development events. And it was a really exciting thing because that was exciting to see. And we also had several officers there at the awards that we were able to take a picture with from last year. So you have Marina, Elaine, Dana, and myself, Teresa on the right. And then on the left, Elaine and I were able to get a picture with Penny, which was very, very cool to get a picture with our award and Penny. So then going into our FY19 events and activities highlights for the year, I really want to focus on starting off with a debrief of our signature events. This was a new branding thing for those events that cross multiple areas and that are really owned at the section level and that are sort of our larger scale events. So the first one that we did on that was our SWE PNW mid-year open house that was hosted at Microsoft. We had a total of 44 people come through and join us for various stages of that at the event. And it was a great turnout. We even had a demo by the Enso Center for the showcase of the self-defense workshop, which is one of our other signature events. And there were lots of members that were there chatting with each other, chatting with our officers, and looking for ways to get engaged. So it was a really exciting event for us from a signature event standpoint. As I referenced, our next one was our Enso Center workshop. We had 2 sessions here. First session was self-defense. This is the 3rd year that we've done this. We had a total of 14 people there, 8 on the attendee side and 6 instructors. So there was a lot of really good one-on-one instruction there. Had a lot of people helping behind the scenes from the instructors to a couple people helping with the lunch ideation. And you can see some great pictures there of the group that attended the class, as well as some action shots and of course lunch, because that's always so important between sessions. So was really excited to have that be a successful third year. One of the other things we introduced in addition to lunch this year is that we added a second session for stress management. We had 3 members attend that with 3 instructors and helpers there. This was brand new for FY19. Even though the slide says FY20, I'll get corrected. But we had a great chat about how to manage stress, how to do that physically, how to do that mentally. Went through some great exercises. One of the ones that was pretty awesome was that deliberate, how do you enjoy a piece of chocolate using all 5 of your senses? So just calming the mind and being aware of self-awareness, but also environmental awareness. So it's really great, and we're looking forward to doing another great year of this next year. So now we'll go into a couple of highlights by our other focus areas. Professional development, we had 5 key events here. There was a Taking the Stage communications workshop. We did a tour of the King County Solid Waste Division plant tour, and there's a presentation around there. Amazon Fresh and Prime now we did a site tour of that. We also had a We Local Bellevue prep session, kind of a casual munch and chat to kind of get ready for going into We Local Bellevue. Really great thing for first-time conference attendees as well as returners to share their experience. And then on the eve of We Local Bellevue, we had a speaker that happened to be in town that offered us 6 conversations every current or future manager needs to master. So a lot of really great topics this year from a professional development standpoint, reached a lot of people with that, and you can see some great picture highlights here. Up next is our outreach, K through 12. This covers our what we've done this past year is engineering visits to local Girl Scout troops. Holly Bork did a great job of coordinating, getting our members to troops to do lead hands-on activities, talk about what it's like to be an engineer. There were also Think Like an Engineer Journey events. And thanks to Holly, we've got permission to share some of these pictures from those events with the girls in them. They had a blast, and we get a lot of great positive feedback on these events from participants. So really happy to see all of those smiling faces in the pictures. At the beginning of FY19, we had our Rainier Ramblings group. It's currently on a little bit of hiatus, but we kicked off the year by doing a theme for our book club of Women in Baseball, which was essentially pick a book about baseball and let's all get together and talk about what that is, which then led into a great social activity where a large group of people went out to a Mariners game and had some fun with the Rainier Ramblings. And then there was a Cyborg Dreams, the Mind of Mine book that came in. And actually that session, the author was able to come because she was a local author to Seattle, and she brought her lovely dog. So you can see some great pictures of that, some of those beginning of the year activities there. One of our other key focus areas is social and networking, because who doesn't love a good happy hour? So there was a happy hour that happened right after the Amazon Prime tour. So a great group of people got together and did some great chatting there. And then in January, we did a SWE PNW games and networking, and lots of great food and lots of great games there. So I was really happy to see all those different focus areas come together, and hopefully everybody had a chance to attend one of those events. Which now officially leads into our SWE PNW awards and recognition. So we want to start off with our FY19 sponsors, partners, and donations. Much of what we do wouldn't be possible without the sponsors and partners. Several of our professional development events, Sonia worked with the Puget Sound Project Management Institute to bring those in. Elaine was able to get us space at Microsoft. Sonia also worked with the Humphrey Group for some of our speakers. Caldera Development and Honeywell Aerospace sponsored both locations and food at several of our meetings. The Dane helped us run one of our fundraisers. Vernon Wells hosted us for the games and networking, and we did some of our meetings at Capital One Cafe as well. So without these sponsors and partners donating, space, their time, their speakers, we wouldn't have been able to do the events that we just listed. So again, thank you to our sponsors and partners for FY19. On a more individual level, we have several donations that have come to SWE PNW this year. We have our corporate volunteer hours gift match. So this is where a company matches the hours that you volunteer and donates that to the organization that you have. We have Microsoft and the Boeing combined here for just about $14K worth of donations to the section. We also have some other donations that came in. We do have an Amazon Smile account where there's information on the webpage on how to connect to that. The fundraiser At the Dane was our bingo night. That brought in some money as well. And then there were some direct donations that totaling up to $817. So again, thank you to all those people that donated their time and had the company match. And for those that, set up Amazon Smile, came to the bingo night or did direct donations, thank you. Oops. So up next is one of our focus areas for recognition this past year, which was our FY19 shout-outs. So what is a shout-out? This is our way of recognizing SWE PNW professional section members, volunteers, and leaders for the awesome work that they do. Anybody can submit a shout-out. You can do that through our webpage for things, from a small thing to a big thing. And it's our quick way of providing that recognition. And one of the things that was really cool about this year is we had over 30 shout-outs submitted in FY19. And want to give a huge, again, round-out shout-out to those that received them. Thank you for all of the help that you do in making our SWE members' days better and participating in the section. And you can't get them without somebody give them. So we want to give a shout out to those people that actually submitted shout outs this year. So thank you for taking the time to recognize your fellow SWEsters and give them a shout out for the work that they do. With that, that takes us to our official FY19 SWE PNW Awards program. These were officially announced at the annual banquet, and there have been some pictures shared up on our social media pages, but we'll run through them very quickly here. The Members' Choice Award is presented to April Byrne in recognition of their work supporting and working with the section. April was a really big help in all of the Honeywell hosted events, helping be an extra Honeywell employee there to make sure those events ran successfully. Up next is our most valuable person, Ashley White. Huge thank you to Ashley White for participating in our bylaws task force and the virtual brand team and really supporting some of those section operations and SWE business elements where we really need to have the support to be able to complete those activities. Up next, we have our Volunteer of the Year Award for the virtual brand team, and that goes to Shari Wing. She's been a fantastic participant on the virtual brand team, has done a lot of great things, including helping with website updates for scholarships, working the blog proofreading, and then also working to put out some stories on her We Local Bellevue experience. So thank you, Shari. Then our Volunteer of the Year for Outreach goes to Holly Bork. Holly did a fantastic job with all of our Girl Scout events this year. Thank you for making that a success and all of the great positive feedback that we got on those events from the girls and the parents that were there. And then new this year, we've had our President's Choice. So these are awards that Elaine basically picked and selected, and Sonia Higuerani is recognized for her work in obtaining a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, with the Puget Sound Project Management Council. It was a big thing for us this year to help us bring some of those professional development events to the section. And we're really happy and glad that Sonia was able to work with that organization and get an MOU in place to support that. And then I got a President's Choice Award, Teresa Crack, for the recognition and support for working to chair the Enso Center signature event for 3 years. So thank you, Elaine, for that. And thank you to all of the volunteers that helped us make this section an awesome section this year. One of the other things that we get to do as a section is award scholarships. And our premier scholarship, our Mary Ellen Russell Memorial Scholarship, was presented to Alyssa Capuano of Seattle University. So congratulations, Alyssa. Really happy that we were able to give out our scholarships this year. And then we wouldn't be much of anything as a section without all of the volunteer help that goes behind the scenes. So up first, I want to give a special shout out to our virtual brand team. It's a core group of individuals who've been working with the team, most of them for more than the year, but it's a core group that helps support in small and big ways maintain our digital infrastructure. So thank you to Elaine, Claire, Shari, Ashley, and Kat for their support on the virtual brand team. Also want to give a shout out to those that worked on some of our special task forces that were active this past year. We have our section bylaws update, which Elaine and myself led with team members Ashley, Suzanne, and Marina. And then we had a task force that looked at our scholarship program for evaluation of it and improvement. And we had Dana leading it, along with Erin and Talithia as team members. So thank you all for your hard work on those task forces. And then on behalf of Elaine, thank you to the elected officers this year, myself as president-elect, Sharia as treasurer, Marina as secretary, Heather as VP as outreach, and Sonia as VP of professional development. Thank you everybody, from those that attended to those that helped run, to our elected officers, for a great year. With that, we'll kind of go into looking ahead again one more time. We have an FY20 election cycle status update. So we are still at the beginning of this in terms of looking for those calls for candidates, which will be coordinated by the NOMCOM. We've put this out a couple of times in the Digital Digest. We've been reaching out individually to some people. So if you're interested in running for an officer position next year or interested in learning more, please reach out. And then the rest of our process will follow from there. So keep an eye out for future communications on this. The biggest way that you can get engaged, submit your name for a candidate position. You can email SWE PNW nomination@gmail.com. If you're not interested in running for a position or being a candidate, that's totally fine. There's other ways for you to engage. When we put the slate out, there's going to be a feedback period. Please feel free to utilize that and provide feedback on the slates and the candidates. And then when we do open it up for voting, please make sure you vote. If you have any questions on the election cycle, you can go ahead and send me an email at swe.pnw.pres.elect@gmail.com or to the nomination email, and we'll be happy to answer your question. And with that, that's officially a wrap on our Digital Digest content for today. We'll wrap up here. If you've got a wee local Bellevue story, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to showcase it on our blog. Shari's already got a couple of them out there. Keep an eye out for bylaws voting, which should be coming soon. We're just waiting for that feedback from the bylaws committee. And then submit your name as an officer candidate for FY20, or send your questions in on the election process. So with that, I will go ahead and open it up for our Ask Me Anything, and we'll give it a few minutes here. I will conveniently keep talking as I go over to the Facebook group and see if we have any questions today. Hopefully everybody has had a chance to see some of the pictures that we've got up on our webpage, as well as our Instagram account and Facebook. It was a really fun annual banquet. We'll give it a few minutes for the audio to catch up here and post. One of the great things about our annual banquet is that we've got a lot of great people that have helped us pull things together there. And we'll go ahead and steal some screen share and use our Instagram account here as one of our talking props. So we've had, there's a lot of great speakers, or a lot of great content that was presented. What I just went through in the Digital Digest was some very high level highlights. We are going to be putting the deck out on our webpage, hopefully in the next week or 2 weeks, as we get sort of the year end cleanup and get some updates to the webpage. We were at Ray's Boathouse again, had a fantastic menu. Thank you to Sonia for going ahead and coordinating the logistics on that. One of the neat things was that Sonia led a networking activity at the beginning, in which we basically were asked 2 questions. How many years have you been involved in SWE, and what was your favorite SWE PNW event? So everybody took Post-its and stuck them up there on the board and had a great time doing that, and she reported out on that at the end of the event. And then we had a lot of great talks, and we had some of our award winners were there. So Shari and Sonia got their pictures taken there. April and Ashley weren't able to make the banquet, neither was Holly, but we're working on getting their certificates and those really fancy SWE socks to them. And of course, what banquet is a banquet without some really great group pictures? And this is a great group of people that was there. So thank you everybody who attended the annual banquet. And again, just checking on the questions, seeing if we've caught up and got any questions there. All right. Looks like it's a quiet night for questions, which is a-okay. If you have any questions after the event, or if you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and still post them in our SWE PNW member forum, or post them back out on the event. We have several virtual brand team members as well as officers that keep an eye on that, and we will do our best to answer the questions as quickly as possible. Let's see. And I think we might be wrapping up here. We'll give it a few minutes again. I am going to temporarily stop sharing because there's one other thing that I think I can share today. We'll see if we can pull it up quickly here as I'm vamping for the questions. All right, we hope everybody's looking forward to a nice summer and hopefully tolerating the warm weather that's coming through this week here. It can be rough. We're hoping to do some summer activities as well, a little bit later things. We will go from there on a few things. As always, if there's any questions that anybody has on any of the topics presented in the Digital Digest or any of our section operations activities, please feel free to contact us. You can contact us through the webpage or through any of the social media channels, and we'll make sure your question gets to the right person. And forgive me here as I'm trying to find the thing that I want to share. All right, well, we may have to do this on the social media profile because I seem to have lost the slide that I wanted for our shout outs this month. So watch for social media for the May shout outs. I do apologize if they didn't quite make it into the Digital Digest and AMA today, but we'll go ahead and post that out to our social media site. And I'll go ahead and go there. All right, so I think with that, we are getting towards the, without seeing any questions, we are just about going to wrap up here. I'll do one last call for live questions. Yeah, we do really appreciate our members, especially if you take the time to go back and watch the replay. We do try to extract the minute or so with SWE PNW so that you've got the latest information in a short, digestible format. And we are going to continue to look at improving things for the next year as we go forward and look at our communication platforms. We talked about kind of building on the success that we had in FY19 and going forward from there. So with that, I think we are officially at our end time for our end content today. So I will say thank you to everybody, whether you're listening live or whether you're listening on the replay. Thank you so much for tuning in to the May 2019 Digital Digest of SWE PNW, and we will see you next time.